Ladies and gentlemen of the Thiel College community, members of my class and visitors, welcome. Glad you could be here today. We are honored to have a visit on our campus from an esteemed member of our state. Lieutenant Governor Mike Stack is here to visit with us today and talk a little bit about a program that he's promoting and supporting called Pathways to Pardons. So we're gonna hear what he has to say about that, and then he has a few minutes to answer a couple of your questions too. So some of you submitted questions to me. I've talked to you ahead of time about who maybe would get up and ask a question, but yeah, so everybody, Lieutenant Governor Michael Stack.
So as usual, everybody sits a little farther back, right? That's where it's safe. I found that if you sit in the front row, you can avoid trouble too. Even better, because like, look, if I'm standing right here and you're in the front row, I'm not going to be looking right at you, and or if I'm sort of looking for people who are unprepared, I'm going to presume the person in the front row is fearless and that they're prepared. And so I'll probably pick on people. I'm going to look to the back, and then I'm just going to go for body language. You know, whoever is fidgety, that's who's unprepared. But hey, that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. I have no particular speech. I'm here at Thiel today, and there's studies that say that the number one fear of most people with coming in second to losing your parents is public speaking. I've heard that one for years, that people are terrified of public speaking. And so I do it all the time, but I still get nervous and anxious about it. But people are merciless to me. They say, go and speak to those people. So before I know it, I'm mic'd up again and I'm back in front of you. And I guess that helps me to be prepared to speak in public. So this is two classes, right? This is criminal justice and public speaking. And on the public speaking thing, I'd say that the most important thing is probably practice. Practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the more you're comfortable doing it. I still have moments where suddenly I get gripped by fear anyway, and I just march on. And the things that I'm doing right now, I think you can see with my hands. Over the years, I've learned things on what are the best things to do with my hands, because I used to go like this. And I guess it demonstrates I'm a little out of control when I'm doing that. So now I have these other things I do. See, that's my steering wheel. And one of the other ones I do when I'm sensing somebody's taking a picture of me while I'm presenting something, I do the 5-point plan. I'll say, we all must follow the 5-point plan. And I also say there's 2 lines in the world, and there's the future out there. The future's out there. So take those into consideration. If you're ever standing there in front of a group and you feel, what am I going to do with my hands? Generally, putting your hands in your pocket, it holds them down, but it's not a good look for you. Stay stationary at times. Face people. Look people in the eye, right? You guys are doing a good job looking me in the eye. And am I seeing everybody? Am I looking at everybody? Anybody escaping me? I think I'm getting everybody, right? So that comes in handy. It also, I think when I talk to groups, it shows that I'm open to people because I can look them in the eye, that I'm not trying to be evasive, that I care what they're thinking and feeling, and I'm paying attention whether you guys are receiving me. All of those things I've learned from doing it for years and years and years, and I'm still learning. And you guys might have some observations about me, and you'll say, don't do this. And I'll be totally insulted, but I'll think about it for a while, and I'll say, that was a good piece of advice. So what's the other thing, too, I want to tell you? Be open to advice, open to criticism. Don't we all hate criticism, right? But it helps us the most. There's another way of saying criticism, people constructive, I'm giving you input. But now I'm going to switch gears a little bit too, because one of the reasons I'm here at Thiel today is we're doing a program called Pathway to Pardons. Before I got here today, we visited SCI Mercer and spent time with about 100 inmates who are military veterans, and most of them are probably, at least half of them are lifers, and then the other half are they're gonna be paroled soon, or they have a shot at being paroled soon. And I'm chairman of the Board of Pardons. It's my constitutional duty as Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania. And I'm with my team of criminal justice folks. I have people from corrections, probation and parole, from Department of Drug and Alcohol programs, and other folks. We're all on the same page with the idea that we'd like to have less people in prison and more people having a chance to get their criminal records cleared so that they can be productive members of society. And so we've been working on that. And my program, my initiative that I'm working on with these folks is Pathway to Pardons, and it's just about creating a path where people know what to do if they're going to seek a pardon. It's going to be easy to understand and to get a pardon. So when I first got elected to the job, I thought pardons were, you know, the governor gives you a pardon when you're about to be sent to the electric chair or something, and suddenly, you know, it's that stormy night, and the pardon comes through, and you get a stay of execution. But realistically, the way we do it in Pennsylvania, you get a pardon for any kind of crime. And people seek pardons for all kinds of crimes. And many of them, what I always say from my own experience in life is, people don't get in trouble for being horrible human beings. They get in trouble for stupidity, immaturity, addiction, other circumstances of dysfunction, and bad timing. And all of us, you know, who don't have criminal records, I think that many of us, we're lucky with our timing. When we've had our worst moments, it hasn't been at the worst time. But usually people have a criminal record. When they've had their worst moment, it's been at exactly the worst time. So anyway, we're giving more pardons. We're encouraging people to seek pardons. We're not saying we're letting dangerous people get their criminal records clear, but we're letting people who clearly made mistakes but have done everything to correct those mistakes, we're giving them a chance. And there's a lot of people out there. And when I came to the Board of Pardons, I found that it had not been a priority of the past to make this an easy process, or a process that people could follow, and could do it in a timely way. And so that's what I've worked on in about the last 2.5 years, with the support of all these other programs, and in a team effort to make that an expedited process, a shorter process, and easier to understand. So we're going to have a bunch of people show up tonight, we're sure, that are looking for pardons. And it doesn't matter where I go. It's been a great educational experience for me. I've been all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In Philadelphia, I was with my friend Senator Sharif Street. We had about 1,200 people at Dobbins High School looking for pardons, right? So then about 3 days later, I was with this Senator Guy Rushenthaler, who's a conservative Republican guy, and it was in a conservative suburban district. We had a full house of people looking for pardons there. No matter where we go, there's no economic area, ethnic or racial background. There's no area where people haven't made mistakes and aren't trying to get on with their life and be a productive member of society. And so that's one of the things we're working on. And we have if you're around tonight, guys, and you have a couple seconds, come over and see what we're doing at Pathway to Pardons. I think you'll learn about it. And that'll be another opportunity for me to talk about the future and some of my 5-point plans. But I'm glad to see you guys. Who's got questions?
I was going to ask if our guests, the criminal justice class, if anybody from that group would like to start.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. You might answer later tonight. I'm gonna be here, but like.
What's your name?
Desmond Stewart.
Okay, Desmond, where are you from?
Virginia.
Cool. What part of Virginia?
Roanoke, Southwest Virginia.
Okay, I was in Charlottesville for my military training.
Okay, that's about
Yeah.
half away. So.
Okay.
But for your pathways to pardons programs, like I said, you might answer it tonight. You're not gonna be up here, but for these people, like these inmates that are getting pardons coming out, you guys have anything, programs, anything set up to help them reintegrate into society successfully, or like you guys just throwing them out there and saying good or everything?
Hey man, I'm like with you. I'm like to the other people. I'm saying, are you guys throwing these guys out there? And we had a bunch of conversations where, you know, that transition, that re-entry, that's probably more important than all the other stuff before that. And we've been bad at it in society, and it costs money and stuff, but so I think it's crucial, and not just to get dumped in some halfway house where people don't care, but you have to have that support, you have to have that guidance, and you know, you have to create the criteria for that person who's re-entering, that they know what their responsibility is, and they know they better follow that game plan, or they could end up back inside. But that if they follow the game plan for re-entry, you know, whether it's treatment, retraining, all that stuff, that they're going to be all right, and that they're not worried that they're going to go back on the wrong path. So that's one of the things I'm working on. That's a corrections piece, but on the pardons thing, we're just we work with if they're getting out of prison because it's something that we do, that's a commutation. You know, that sometimes people can't get out of prison forever on their sentence, and we've done commutations where people have been so exemplary, and even the victim has said, you know, we support them being released. But a lot of times we have pardons, which are like people did retail theft, recreational drug use, or dealing a small amount of marijuana. We have all kinds of people with that kind of record, but their whole life's getting screwed up now with the background check, so we're trying to help them get that cleared.
Okay, can we get Dugan to please ask his question?
Dugan.
Hi. So Maine and Vermont are the only two states that allow felons to vote while they're still in prison. And I was wondering what's stopping Pennsylvania?
I would say what's stopping Pennsylvania is that the majority would not want people from prison to be able to vote. Because it would, the people who are, the majority, I just don't think that they would get voted for. And without being partisan, we have a Democratic governor, but we have Republican Senate and Republican House by big majorities. And then we have districts that, and I'm part of a gerrymander, an anti-gerrymandering suit. We have districts drawn so that that's going to remain, you know, and we have a majority of Republican Congress people as well, and that's just a fact, right? And we have more Democratic voters substantially than Republican, but you know, there's no question that politics has entered into that, and there's differences in political ideologies. But let me tell you this. I spent some time today with Senator Michelle Brooks, who's a Republican senator, and I work with her in Harrisburg. And as I mentioned, there's more and more Republican senators and House members that I think are interested in doing things a different way in Pennsylvania and stop focusing on build more prisons and instead maybe build more schools. So I think things are changing, but I think we're far away right now from letting prisoners vote. But we're closer to letting ex-felons vote, because if we're really about second chances, and people have changed their lives and they can demonstrate it and they get a pardon and all that stuff, they should get their voting rights returned. Yes, sir.
With the recidivism rates as high as they are, how does that like hurt your process of pardoning?
Yeah. Well, we when we're reviewing cases, you know, I'll look over if someone continues to get in trouble, that's really not going to be a case where we're looking at a pardon. But if you look at somebody and they did something in 1992, and then maybe they did something stupid like speeding or something, or something even stupider a couple years later, it shows that, you know, they've led a good life, they've learned from whatever that mistake is, and usually the file too indicates what the person's doing, and probation and parole interview everybody around them. So I'm also like one of these people that it doesn't have to be a million years ago that the offense happened, if it was like 7 or 6 years ago, and it was something really stupid, and you could see that the person's like really straightened out since then, in those cases, that's a candidate for pardon. But recidivism is just a big problem. And it's like I mentioned at the beginning, you know, like, if we can deal with that and make sure that when people are getting, they get into the criminal justice system, if we work as hard to make sure that they exit it in a way where they're not going to get in trouble again, we're going to spend a lot less on locking people up and giving them criminal records. And then, by the way, then we have to spend all that other money, like, on other social costs, you know, like welfare, law enforcement. All these things are the things that drive taxes up or create that need for that money. So we can spend less on that if we spend a little more time and resources on helping people stay straight.
Okay. Well, guys, unfortunately, Lieutenant Governor Stack has a call he has to get to.
Yep.
for emergency management. So, phew, right? Okay, we're on top of that. We want to be on top of emergency management.
I would tell you guys what it's about, but
Then he'd have
you
to
don't
kill
want
you.
to. Yes, I have to kill you. No,
Yeah,
you don't want
okay,
to.
good. So,
It's
but
nothing
thank
like
you
that.
very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.